Toyota is largely considered the people's choice for new vehicles in Australia, but can the Japanese manufacturer lay claim to producing the people's sports car? Well, this is the new Supra. It's priced under 100 grand, it's rear-wheel drive, and it has a turbo inline six. There's a lot to like about the 5th generation model, so much so that the first year of allocation is all but spoken for. The Supra's return to showrooms is a massive coup for enthusiasts, but the thing is, it lands in an established segment of sub $100,000 performance offerings. So we want to put it up against the current people's champion and Australia's best-selling performance car, the Ford Mustang GT.
Rear drive versus rear drive, coupe versus coupe. Identical 4.3 second 0 to 100 claims and both steeped in history. There are plenty of similarities between these two, even if they are separated by a couple of cylinders and nearly $20,000 in price.
The biggest contrast here is size. The American-built Mustang is 300mm longer and about 250 kilograms heavier than the Supra. And on that subject, this isn't exactly Japanese either. It shares the bulk of its parts with BMW's new Z4, but I don't think that's going to be a bad thing. First impression, it feels distinctly German. A 50-50 weight distribution, cracking inline six, and a really fast-witted 8-speed automatic. This is a classic rear-drive sports car. On a twisting piece of road, the Supra is pointed, balanced, and fast. Even in these greasy conditions, it turns in cleanly. You can really lean on the chassis, knowing you've got full control of the car. And the engine finds peak torque from only 1600 RPM, revving cleanly to 6.5 grand. There's a lot to like here.
The BMW theme manifests inside the Supra as well, with easily recognisable switchgear and excellent finishes. No surprise given it's built on the same Austrian production line as the Z4. Vision is not a strong point. It's difficult to see at the left side and there's not a lot of headroom. But the performance underpinnings here are first rate. 2-stage adaptive dampers, Brembo brakes and a limited slip diff, all standard.
Downsides? Well, for mine, the steering feels a little bit heavy in sport mode, and outside of the twisty stuff in anything other than comfort mode, it's a very firm, at times jarring ride, and you're getting ever-present road noise. But when you can pull off dynamics like this, it's a bit of a moot point. Jump inside the Mustang and the proportions are almost sprawling compared with the Supras. There's nice armchair-like seats, an airy feel to the cabin, even a rear seat to play with. Now, the interior switchgear and plastics definitely do not hail from Germany in this car, but I must say the infotainment system is light years ahead of the Toyotas. But all of that is beside the point. The real MO of the Mustang is this: 5 litres of American muscle. Now the Mustang might boast 89 kilowatts and 56 Newton meters more than the Supra, but its 10-speed automatic is simply no match in terms of speed, intuitiveness, and just finding the right gear for the right situation. In many respects, this car is all about slow in, fast out. Its steering, its body control, its brakes just don't have that same delicate finish as the Supra. But instead, it makes all the right noises, and if you wanted a car for a long day in the saddle, well, this is definitely going to be the comfier of the two.
Then there's the price. The Mustang GT Automatic undercuts the cheapest Supra by $19,000. The manual Mustang even more so. However, if you want adaptive dampers on your Stang, well, the gap is closer. Let's be honest, you wouldn't buy either of these cars for fuel use, but when all said and done, the Mustang is the thirstier option, though it can run on E10 unleaded if needed.
There's no doubt that the Mustang is a sports car in its own right, but you just don't have to work through those comfort compromises in the same way as the Supra. Yes, it's a bit heavier. In some respects, it's like a leg-tipped arrow, but for me, this car is all about the experience. It's all about the theatre, and central to that is the rumbling V8 engine. There is nothing else like it. Ultimately, these two tackle the people's champion from totally different angles. The Mustang is all about muscle, power, and performance, filling all the requisites on the spec sheet, but perhaps not out on the road. On the opposite side of the ledger, you have the new Supra. It's fast, it's agile, and it's really well balanced, though you don't get the same level of comfort. But since we're talking about sports cars, this has to be the new people's champion. It's a Toyota with European levels of performance.